So the people have been demanding it, Cheeky.
Oh, they sure have.
Yeah, dude, aren't you excited? We're gonna talk about our favorite manga.
Uh-huh.
Our favorite manga, Congo Bancho.
Oh, dude, I fucking love Congo Bancho. Wait a fucking minute.
Yeah.
Congo Bancho actually goes hard.
Yeah, it's like so cool. Like I
hmm
love the main character, just this big muscly man with Sonic hair, and that
hmm
first like chapter where he carries a
A
car.
car. Oh, it's so funny.
Yeah, it's a
And
great
it
thing.
really highlights the author's best artistic technique, which is his ability to exaggerate both height itself and the angle to exaggerate height, which works really well because in Congo Bancho, everyone's a fucking Goliath,
Yeah. It's a really
so
fun manga.
it works like really well. Like, admittedly, like not all the characters got like perfect development, and like the story was kind of like iffy around the edges, but like it was all around just like pretty well made and fun.
Yeah, and I really like some of the characters. Like I remember a Coward Bancho. Love
Oh,
him.
yeah, he's the best one.
Yeah, he's the best one.
Yeah, and
There's
then
Shark
that he,
Bancho.
yeah, and then the author of that series made another series.
Yeah, and there's stuff to like about this series, right? Like it gave us Escanor, the coolest like man ever made,
Uh-huh.
coolest character ever.
It did
Love
make
like
Escanor.
yeah, like every time I see Escanor, like my hype man ape brain just like goes ballistic, and I'm like
hmm
this. I'm just so happy whenever I see him do anything.
No, and what's notable about Escanor is he's great in a lot of the ways that Congo Bancho was great.
Yeah, like you
It's
said, like
this
they
hyper,
exaggerate.
it's this hyper exaggerated like omega masculinity through this colossal guy who just gets bigger and bigger.
Yeah, he literally gets bigger and bigger as like the day goes on. It's
Oh yeah,
great.
no, it's phenomenal.
Yeah, I love his mustache and like even like his little
hmm
form, he looks like a nice little dapper guy. And he even gets like cool character stuff, right?
Yeah, he does.
Yeah, it's nice. And we like Bond, right?
We try to like Mon. We want to like Mon.
Ignore the one thing that you don't like about Bond. Now, do you like
Uh-huh.
Bond?
Yeah, I like Mon.
Yeah, he's so cool. And
But that's also
it's
true. But that's also true for like King.
yeah, I think like I think you said like the best characters were like Escanor, King, and Gother when you last read.
No, I put King lower for the same reason I put Bond lower.
Okay, yeah, but like
So yeah,
so
Escanor and
Gother.
Gother were definitely my two favorites, and then third is it's like I like like Bond and King are more interesting than Deanne, but Deanne doesn't do anything to outright annoy me.
Like I remember the last time I read it, it was a few years ago, but like Diane was actually one of my favorite characters, or one of
hmm
the better ones remember. And like I thought that was like a weird opinion to have at the time because I think this was like weekly reading, more or
I
less.
I think one thing that's nice about Deanne is not only does she not have anything weird going on, uh, she also just like you're kind of just happy for her after a while because like she gets everything she wants like at least 50 chapters before the finale, and then it's just like it's just nice to see her just be happy and live in the good life. Like you're happy for her, you want her to enjoy that.
Yeah, and I like her stuff with Gother, like the whole memory theme they have. Like, oh,
Yeah,
Gother keeps like erasing his memories because the pain is too much, but like she loses her memories all the time, and she fucking hates it. It sucks. You have to move on with your life, and I like that.
right.
Yeah, it's nice.
Admittedly, Gother is just doing like a trope I really like, which is the whole artificial human finds humanity and soul, which it's just a good trope. I like it whenever it's done.
Yeah, I mean
Unless you
he's
really
kind of
fuck something up.
yeah he's kind of a fucking freak in the sequel. Like he does this one really fucked up thing
Oh
that's
no,
very
he does a lot
funny.
of fucked up things. It's
Yeah.
Gother.
No, like, yeah, no, just like basically this villain, right? And he's like, I'm
hmm
evil because my son died as like a baby. And he's like, oh, you mean this baby here? And suddenly he made the man's baby, like an illusion of it, a perfect one. And then just hands it to him and says, here's your baby. That's your baby, right? And it's like, he stops being evil just because, like, he gets to hold his baby. Like, Gother. That's a dead fucking baby.
Oh, that's
That's like an abuse of like that man's memories, isn't it? Like I get like you kind of had to do it for like to get him to stop being evil and stuff, but like that's kind of fucked up, right?
it's Gother. It's the one where like it makes the most sense that he'd do that because
Yeah, it does.
he's better, but he's still not perfect.
Yeah, and season 1 of the anime was actually really well made. Like the action was great. you don't get any of those weird like the weird like slow janky animation that you had in the later season. Like
It
I sincerely think that if Bond versus Meliodas wasn't like as well like animated as it was, I wouldn't have like started reading the manga.
right.
I think
Also,
that's true of
it's
a lot of people.
it really embraces its bright color palette, which is so fucking nice.
Yeah.
Cause like, not to be rude, but a lot of the big anime right now, like the big Mappa boys, all kind of look the exact fucking same.
Yeah. And also it came with this awesome soundtrack, Perfect Time. It's
Oh
like
my god,
perfect.
Perfect Time is like infuriatingly good for the series that's in. And then like it has a couple really good openings. I think the first three are really fucking good.
Yeah. You know, there's
It has
things to
that
like
one
saying
really
about
funny
this.
opening with like where they tried to do cool editing, but they couldn't quite pull it off.
Yeah, I remember that one. Yeah, the good
Oh,
times.
and don't worry if you're like, more people making fun of the Seven Deadly Sins anime. Don't worry, King. I didn't watch it. I only watched season one.
I watched it with my brother, and we couldn't. I had to stop because I couldn't.
Right. So
Like I remember the episode that like really it broke him too. Like I think he dropped the show after. It was like the first episode of like season 3 or 4. It was a complete filler episode, and in it it's like it's the one where they start like maybe this was just like a Netflix thing, but like they
hmm
started like censoring the blood, so all this like white like shit just started flying out of all the demons they killed.
so yeah, don't worry. We're not just going to be whining about ooh bad animation. We're going to be talking about the actual story, dog.
Yeah, so do you want to start with what the fuck, Gil?
Okay. So this is something I'm pretty sure you quoted this where I came into a call and just said that. uh, so I was reading through Seven Oceans. I hadn't seen it since like the anime first came out, and I was like, Gil is like pretending to be a bad guy, but then you notice something. Gil does a lot of things for no fucking reason.
Yeah,
Like
no
a big one
reason.
is like when we're introduced to Gil, we learned that a kid put a bug in his drink, therefore he sealed the town's water supply, not only removing most of their water, but also completely destroying their economy. And
Yeah,
then you're like, oh, that was kind of fucked up. But then here's the funny thing: all of the unironically actually evil people don't do anything nearly that
yeah,
bad.
I know, because like that's the thing. Obviously they want like Gil Thunder to be working for the villains and like get redeemed later on, or like he was always part of the good guys, right? But like Hendrickson's trying to keep his evil plan and shit on the down low for the time
hmm
being. So like, why is
Like,
Gil like going out of his way to be the most evil, irredeemable bastard possible?
or like Gil will just randomly like it'll be like ransack a village to look for like the royals, and Gil's like okay, and then Gil will like do it in the most cruel, comedically evil way possible, and we never see anyone else do it like
Yeah,
that. It's only Gil.
and it's so weird. The explanation they gives, like, all right, so his girlfriend's like, the princess is like being a kid is locked in the dungeon. If you don't do what we say, we'll kill her. All right, cool. Okay, so Gil, just do what they tell you to do. Don't go out of your way to be evil. Just do what they ask of you. Okay, you don't have to do anything more than that, right? Like, why does he like? It's like the author really wanted. I want to make despicable, vile villains that you'd love to see, like get their get punched in the face. But then
hmm
like decided I want Gil to be redeemed and didn't think about like trying to justify all the other fucked up shit enough. Like it's weird. It's so weird. I felt like I was
It's a
missing something.
it's a strange decision.
Yeah, very strange. And I like Gil with what they eventually do with him, or what
hmm
like they could have done with him, I guess. But like, what the fuck, Gil?
I know. It's like, why is he like this? Because like, it doesn't even fit his character that he's this fucking
I
evil.
know. Like, if anything, isn't it more suspicious for him to be acting evil as fuck? Like
Yes,
Hendrickson saw him
Would be,
grow up.
Gil, why did you like when he threw that spear and like Meliodas is like, God damn, that had a high chance to destroy the village. I'd love if Hendrick's gonna say, Hey Gil, why do you keep literally leveling like places? Like I'm telling you to like look for Elizabeth. What the fuck are you doing, Gil? And Gil's like, all evil must be punished. And Kendrickson's like, okay, Gil. Yo, you're not even loyal to me. Why the fuck are you acting
Yeah,
like
no, like
this?
that's the
I know
thing.
you're
That's
loyal to
like isn't
Dreyfus.
it like suspicious or like because like he saw Gil grow up, right? Like he literally
Yeah,
saw this
and
kid
he
grow up.
knows Gil works under Dreyfus with like Hauser and the big guy,
Yeah.
who are notably not evil.
I know, so it's like, all right, you already have his girlfriend captive. That's the reason why you keep the girlfriend captive is because you know Gil is like an honor robber dude who really cares about justice and stuff. So you kidnap his girlfriend to keep it hostage. Then suddenly the guy starts acting like an evil piece of shit. Isn't that weird?
You know, I do think it's funny comparing Gil to Hauser, whereas the second Hauser learns they're doing anything slightly evil, he's like, "Yo, what the fuck?" And I guess he and Gil never talk about it.
Yeah, that's like one thing that I kind of like is that like it's Hauser who eventually becomes like the new like head knight at the end. Because
Right.
what the fuck, Gil? Like you kind of lost your chance, Gil.
If
You're
anything,
kind of
if you ignore the
irredeemable,
crimes,
Gil.
Gil probably should have been like king instead.
Oh yeah.
Because actually, if we're doing crimes, he's more worthy than the actual fucking king replacement.
No, 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 no. But we love Meliodas. We love Meliodas. She's so.
Meliodas nuked the whole country.
But
That's
like
all
it
we
was
felt
for
bad about
love.
one
It was
person.
because of love.
Okay, we'll get to that later. We'll get to that
Okay,
later.
we can get to that later. Okay, so you want to just get into the power levels now and the
Okay, yeah, because power levels is
literal
like fun
bad
bad.
math. Okay, so
Okay,
like
so here's the thing.
to be
Before they even
fair, yeah,
introduced power levels, the scaling was like kind of inconsistent, but you just rolled with it.
yeah.
Like Gila dicked on all the sins, and then later she was like equal to like a 1v1. But that's like a common thing in series. Like villain stronger than whole group, but then when we need the important things, villain only capable of 1v1. It's like
Yeah,
it's normal. I
yeah,
can't
and
get
they
mad at
even
that.
had like an explanation like, "Oh, we don't have our weapons. We're knights. We fight with swords and shit, but we can't fight with our fists."
Sure, even though
Right?
only like some of them got their weapons back,
Right?
like sure, why not? Like eh. And then like you had like the funny one where like Meliodas' demon form got one shot when Hendrickson gave a little bit of his power to what's his fucking name?
Helbram.
Helbram. And then we see Hendrickson and like he's like weaker than Meliodas and Gil. And it's like, okay, that's kind of weird.
Yeah,
Like, where did that come from? He doesn't have demon juice yet. How did he do that? You're like, that's kind of weird. I guess
it
he was
is.
planning on making Hendrickson stronger than that, but like, whatever. That's fine, I
Yeah,
guess.
like honestly, like when it comes to like power skill, it's just like, all right, it's easy to forgive and overlook if it doesn't like push too much in your face. The problem is Seven Innocence pushes it in your face by giving every character a number, and it just results in
Hmm.
literally bad math. So like you can't ignore because the series is
No,
drawing
yeah,
attention to
yeah,
it.
no, no, Puff, here's the thing. Most people hate power levels because, like, ooh, it makes battles boring. No, we hate them because the math don't add up.
No, like it's Parallels is fine. Dragon Ball handled it really well, like way better than
Shaman
people
King
like
did
to
it
give.
really well.
Yeah.
Or the problem
Uh,
is the math don't math.
and okay, so like let's go back to that bomb girl example, Gila, right? Her power level is 1,350.
That was her power level after the fight with Hendrickson.
Yeah. So like after the fight with Hendrickson, that's like what after the entire arc, right? Like after she
Yeah,
gets like those legendary treasures and everything.
yeah. After she, oh yeah, that's a thing. It's outright stated that during the fighting festival arc, when they raid the fighting festival, Gila, Jericho, and the Gravity guy, it's stated that their weapons are on the level of sacred treasures.
Yeah,
Take
whatever
that how
that
you will.
fucking mean, whatever the fuck that means.
Take that how
No,
you will.
it's supposed to be impressive, but like before that even happens, like she's able to bully three of the sins at once, and like the sins are supposed to be like these ancient, like or not ancient, but like legendary warriors from the past, like. And we learned their power levels are all in like the upper 2000s range, so they're all at least twice as strong as her. All three of them are trying to dogpile her, but they can't. They can't even touch her. So, but like how? When she's only half as strong as them. Why'd you give her this number if it wasn't gonna make sense?
No, and it's so weird because it's not like, oh, that's inconsistent with later events. It's inconsistent with events you already wrote. Right, you right.
No,
And
like the thing
also,
is, that's the
when
thing
she
about
fought
these
the
power
Sins,
levels.
that's when no, they outright stated that when they did the raid, which was way after when she dicked on the Sins, she got insurmountably stronger between those two periods in time. So her power level when she dicked on the Sins was probably like 900.
And okay, so it's so weird because like these power levels are introduced retroactively, like after the first like big like arc in the story, and they retroactively like make things make less sense. Like
Or like another one
how?
is you mentioned
How?
how the Hendrickson Meliodas thing.
Yeah.
Hendrickson's max power level before he got demon juice was 1200. Meliodas in his demon form is isn't it like it's 4400.
Yeah. 4,400, which is more than
So
Hellbrim and Hendrickson combined. So how the fuck did
how did he
Hendrickson?
give him a little bit?
And also, like I thought the way this orb thing worked was that he had to give him like his magic energy. So like, how would he input like his spirit or like his physical
Oh, so yeah,
power?
did he only give him his magic level? In which case, well, that was only like 1000 something.
Yeah, so it's like, how does that translate to one-shotting you? And like that's like another
Oh,
weird thing is that they're split up into categories to begin with. Like, does being
and
good
I
at
don't know what the
math make
fuck's
your
like. I
willpower
know what
stronger?
like magic and strength makes sense. I
Yeah, they
don't know
make
what
perfect sense.
flying fuck spirit is.
I know they just say like it's willpower, like intelligence or whatever. But like,
Hmm.
does knowing math make your power level higher? Like, does it? Like,
Who knows?
it feels like it's trying to like not do the thing Dragon Ball is criticized for with being too straightforward with power levels, but as a
Hmm.
result complicates it to the point of just being dumb. Like magic and strength make enough sense, but like yeah, the third one, and it's like why though? Like I thought the whole idea, like they even bring up this idea is that like oh your power level doesn't matter. Sometimes the circumstances or your skill can make a difference, but you made skill like a separate power level, and that kind of like goes against the whole point, right? That like you can't like accurately measure like intelligence, willpower, or skill. I thought that was
Or
one
like,
point you were trying to make, but apparently you
right.
can.
Or like another problem with the power levels with retroactive is I think Arthur, Meliodas, and Gil versus Hendrickson and like the Witch Lady was like a really fun fight, like a very fun early fight. But then it's revealed that Gil Thunder's power level at that time was roughly 1900.
Yeah, 1900.
Hendrickson's was 2600, and Gil fucking
No,
obliterated
dude.
him.
It's consistent. When you're way the fuck weaker than someone, you can one shot them, just like Hellbrim one shot Meliodas. It's the rules. The red demons were told like their max power level, like their peak is like 1,300, right?
Yeah, it's 1300. That's their
And
max.
Elaine was like 2,800. So how the fuck did she get killed by just one of those things?
Type advantages, man.
How? But how though?
And then like there's also just small sad things. Like in the final arc, you see my boy Slater, who's a king. I love him to death. His power level is 2700. What a beast.
Yeah.
His final moments like that we see of him, he doesn't die. Like the last things we see him do is like his sword is broken and he's like about to get killed by a red demon.
Oh no! Like that's one thing that just humans just get dicked on so hard throughout the story.
Oh, no, no.
Yeah. Okay. So like I get
The
that power
human
creep is a
the
thing, but like it's like really bad in Seven Deadly Sins because like in the same way that was in Dragon Ball, where like side characters will just stop mattering, but they'll
uh-huh.
stick around and then do nothing because the only thing they're supposed to be good at is fighting. Like like I told you this a few times before, like Gil and Hauser, like one of my favorite moments in the whole series is when they get like a power up by like sort of learning from each other. Like Gil
Right.
like learns to be more creative with his power, and Hauser learns how to like tighten up and like do proper form. And it's like, oh, that's cool, but then they just use it to kill some random fuck off dragon that doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
They don't even kill the dragon. Doesn't the dragon still beat them? Whatever. But
Yeah, I
anyway,
think so.
like that happens, but it's just like that moment like doesn't feel like it has any gravitas to it because
No,
like there's no.
no, that's the common thing with humans is like outside of Arthur, who's God, every human will have a thing where they're like, where it's like, man, humanity sucks, and they'll be like, this is humanity's newest power, and then it does fuck all. Think Hendrickson and Dreyfus turning into giants. Think the leader of the anti-king faction summoning like an angel goddess stand and then getting like three
All
shot.
right, but I actually like that scene. That's an alright scene.
Okay, I thought it was fucking funny.
Yeah, it is funny.
Or no, even if each individual scene is good, it kind of builds the thing of like Arthur's like, don't underestimate humans, but then it's like Arthur, you and like Bond are the only humans worth not underestimating,
And Bond is literally just because he's immortal. Like
and
that's all he
you're
has going
busted
for him.
because you have the greatest power in the world.
It's just like the thing is they keep giving the humans like these little power ups, then do nothing with them. Like Hauser and Gilththunder get their power up right, but then like they never like fight a commandment with them or anything like that. Like I feel like I would have felt better about the story if they just had like Hauser and Gil like team up with them the commands and they get their power up that way and they win. I feel like that'd be cooler than just giving it to like for them to fight some random dragon and then they just never do anything. Like
Yeah,
Jericho
it's
like has this one moment where she's like, "Ah, we're going to a big final war, but I'm scared cuz my brother's not with me anymore and I always looked up to him. I have ice powers like my brother now all of a sudden cuz like his memory inherited will. Cool." She doesn't do anything until the
no.
sequel. Well, she does the stuff in the sequel series, but we could talk
Right,
about
okay,
that later cuz
we don't talk about it. We don't talk about that. We don't
yeah,
talk about
we
that.
don't talk about it.
That's not till a different section.
And then like Dreyfus is like the one that probably like makes me the most upset just cuz he's the most like even if you want the setting to be like humans suck ass in the setting, they have to. And Dreyfus was like the one where it's like you can make it work so easily because like not only was he super strong like in the first arc, like he's like one of the main villains, he's stronger than like most of the sins at that point. They also gave him a power up straight from one of the 10 Commandments, who are these really strong demon guys. So it's like, oh, that plus like really strong power from really strong dude can make him like relevant, not like enough to kill like I don't know one of the main villains at that point, but like to help out, right? I don't even
Yeah,
think we see him turn giant in the final battle. I
I
don't
think we see
remember
him
it.
turn giant like once.
Yeah, wasn't it the one instance where he unlocked the
Yeah, I
power?
think like I don't want to say the author forgot about it. He was probably just rushed, but we do never see it again.
It's so
And
odd.
then
It's so weird.
so like yeah, humans suck ass, which is very funny when like a big thing is like, oh, all the races fucking hate each other when really they should only hate demons. uh, when it's like really like humans are kind of just like pathetic.
No, I remember like the last useful thing humans do. It's like those Order of Knights that no one cares about. And it's like we kidnapped demon possessed Dreyfus by teamwork and using weird wacky powers in tandem, and then it amounted to nothing because he broke
Oh,
out and
the
killed them all.
entire arc, you could be like, oh, they're so fucked. They do, like you could tell the entire time that Dreyfus was completely in control.
I know, just that's
It
literally
was
the
so
last
sad. Like
useful
you
thing they
never even
do.
thought for a second they were gonna make it out okay.
And the thing is, this gets even weirder with the power skilling again. Like when we get to the sequel series, because suddenly humans just don't suck ass.
Which
And
I
granted,
respect.
granted, there is like a sort of an explanation where like Arthur has his chaos powers and he's like lending chaos powers to some humans, but like it's made very clear that it's only in the form of these staffs, and these staffs just like sort of like mind control other races and like transform them into monsters and stuff, right? When it
Right.
comes to like their physical stats and stuff, like none of that has been touched or explained at all. But like one of these guys can just box Gwaine, who's like the new Escanor, which was pretty rad. I like that guy a lot. He's cool. But like, when did humans just get good? Like, it doesn't make much sense to me. Like
It's like
even
they had to get good because that story has like a lot of shit about a race war.
I know it's like I get it. Like the humans are the antagonists now, so they have to get stronger. And instead of just like giving them all like chaos amps, you just like sort of made it happen. Which like sure fine. Like it's not like the worst thing in the world, but it's just very weird when like you're the main characters already like as they're introduced, like besides maybe Percival because like he lags behind a bit, are supposed to be like stronger than like all the sins by a country mile at the beginning of like the actual main story. So like they're already like Gwaine,
Lancelot.
they are yeah, Lancelot's literally the strongest man in the whole series already. Somehow he's just the strongest character now. uh then there's Gwaine, who's the new Escanor, and then you have okay, so I just remember another dumb power level thing with Tristan.
What?
Tristan's the prince guy. Meliodas' son, half demon, half
Ugly
angel.
kid, ugly ass kid.
Ugly ass kid. And like he can just like okay, so you have like Meliscula and Galen, right? Who are like some of the 10 Commandments, like these existential otherworldly threats, like parallels of like isn't it like 20,000 each, like something like that.
Right.
Yeah, and these two were directly given power by Chaos. Like they're literally called like Chaos Gallon and Chaos Meliscula now. Like their
Right.
designs are different. So it's like, all right, like a fucking cat got some Chaos power and became like an N tier villain. So like you give them to these two kids who are already like really strong. You expect them to be like stupidly powerful, right?
Right.
Well, Tristan can one-shot Chaos Meliscula when he goes, like, into his angry demon mode. So it's like,
Good
oh,
for him.
okay, cool. But also, he can't beat this random fuck-off demon when he goes angry demon mode. And it's implied... And, like, judging by, like, where that guy... Like, judging by where he is in the story and like how relevant he was and like, you know, how he got like beaten up by other like of Arthur's knights later on, he should not be as strong as a commandment at
That's
all.
funny.
So it's just like weird and how that happened.
No. Do we have any other power scaling takes? Because if not, I do have a conclusion for why I think it's like this.
Uh, we do have Twigo. Because
Oh,
Twigo's
okay,
just
that's a
funny.
fun one.
All right,
Why is Twigo so fucking cracked?
dude, Twigo like obliterated like a whole mountain range with this opening attack.
Oh,
And
or
he
like
should have
another
a
one
and he
is
should have a power level of less than 280 because like, you know, the whole demon blood thing with Jericho and all that. So like less than
right.
280 probably.
He's like shearing cliffs, obliterating forests.
The one
But
cool
one more
thing about
with
this,
power levels in humans is the whole. I'm only mad because they outright said, like Slater outright said, the cool thing about magic, specifically things like My Intimidate, is that it works regardless of how strong the opponent is, so we'll always stand a chance. And then Gallon comes, and it's like, fucking never mind.
oh yeah,
That
no
power
like
doesn't work anymore. And it's
no
like,
like
why'd
he
you lie to me?
tries it and then like the opposite happens like it bounces back and he's like, "Oh no, I can't move."
And it's like, okay, no strategy, never mind. And I think the reason for all these inconsistencies and all that weird shit comes down to something I noticed with almost every single fight he's ever written. He only knows how to write one type of fight, and that's where one character is astronomically stronger than the other.
Oh yeah, like that's like 99% of them, I think.
In both Congo and Seven Deadly Sins. That's just how he writes fights, and like that's not a bad thing because like Congo fights never get stale or anything. It's just like I think that's the root of where the weird power levels come from, is
Yeah.
because it's always such an overwhelming gap in strength. The many power level things have so many opportunities to be dead wrong. Admittedly, a lot are just completely unjustifiable. Like, how did you math that math so wrong? You could have just mathed it better.
Yeah, the math is
But
weird.
it's weird as hell.
Yeah. Okay, so again, another thing about the powers is just that like characters will just like pull powers out of their ass that they should have a long time ago, or like they'll forget about powers they have. Like you compare, like I remember one time you told me it was like Golden Age Superman, where he'll just like develop time travel for one issue and then like never do it again. It's like yeah, that
Because like it's fun.
yeah. 'Cause, like thing is, I have a whole list here. Bond can turn invisible, but only does it once.
Only yeah, like and you can't justify him not using it before.
Why? Only once?
Mhm.
Why? That seems like a very useful power. And the thing is, he
Like
does
or
the
like
first time
this
he does it.
like
He does it to like a group of. He does it to the Ten Commandments, who are these group of really strong guys who should have like, you know, some sensory abilities because like, you know, they've been hunting magic and all that.
right.
So it's just like he can do it with these guys. What's stopping him from doing it to anyone else at any other time? Like
Yeah. Or like another Bond power is like they didn't need what's it called? Hunter Festival?
Hunterfest.
They didn't need that to beat Hendrickson, but if they did that, they wouldn't have to risk Meliodas' life.
Yeah, no, alright, either we could do revenge counter where Melios has to take a shit ton of damage, or
and
we
like
just have,
almost die.
or we just have Bond steal some energy from everyone and then like two shot
Just
Hendrickson.
beat the ever loving shit out of him.
And the things we know he can because like Hendrickson's power level in the Grey Demon is like 5,000 something in that range.
And
But
Bond was able to scale to Gallon when he uses Hunter Fest.
well, I guess like to be fair, he stole like half of Gallon's strength when he
Well,
did
yeah,
that.
so just steal half of Hendrickson's.
But what if most of Hendy's strength isn't his magic? What then?
You see?
Yeah, the thing is, like, even just stealing Diane's would be like 1,000 in physical strength, right? So,
Oh yeah,
like,
it would.
that alone would be a huge buff.
Yeah, or it's like kind of, or like one that upset me because I was genuinely excited is when Meliodas and King are like fight training, like King has pissed him, but it's still like training. Is we see that the core root of King's ability is to like make causes more radical. Like a small cut turns into like an overflowing like pool of blood, shit like that. And I was
Yeah.
like, oh, that's really cool and interesting. I bet they're gonna bring that back in really cool ways that tie into his character. I'm so fucking excited. And then it never got brought up.
And, like, he can make wounds bigger, but just never does it. Like, what? And he can do it to
No, and
people
not even
far
that,
stronger
even
than him
just,
because he did with
even just like the
Meliodas.
thematic meaning behind it is like never brought up again.
You know what else King never does again?
What?
He never uses he never turns people into stone again.
For some, yeah, King has two abilities where if he cuts you, you should auto lose, and he never tries them.
I know it's so weird. And also Bond can heal people with his blood, but like never does it outside the first few arcs.
Right. It's just a lot of that, which is like most of that I can look past. I'm really only annoyed when it's like a really cool power that you should have used before, or a really interesting power that you then don't give half a shit about.
Yeah, like sometimes like
Oh, another one. Meliodas like forgets he has vanish counter like half the series. He forgets that's a thing he can do.
yeah. Like oh right, yeah, Merlin managed to steal away 90% of Melios's power, and
He
he's like
didn't
one of the
need
strongest
that.
people. And like the thing is like I assume she needs like really good like some prep to do this, like a certain like tool or whatever, but like
And caught him
when
off guard, but like
but like if she could like when we're talking about how are we gonna deal with these commandments who are way stronger than Meliodas is right now, what are we gonna do? Why doesn't Merlin say I can seal their power if we get this and this? That seems like a pretty
like
good
oh like
plan.
if she needs like prep time and to catch them off guard, they regularly raid the boar hat. Set it up there.
I know, just like it never even is brought up. Like, don't you at least want to like if you want to like give a little explanation, like hand wave it away, sure, like that's fine. But like that never does. It's just left hanging, and you have to forget about it because the story does too.
Right.
And also, this is the one that's like actually fucked up. Hendrickson can just bring people back to life.
Oh, he fucking can! And they outright say, because I remember I asked you this because I got annoyed, is they outright say he can bring people back to life. But it's a pain in the ass because after the first time, they start to lose their will. As in the first time, they're completely fine, which we see with I keep forgetting his name, King's best
Hellbrim,
friend.
Hellbrim.
Yeah, because Hellbrim is completely himself the first time. He only loses humanity the second time. Because I remember I read that, and the first thing I did was go to you and say, "Hey, Puff, why doesn't Bond know about this?"
Yeah, I know, and I said, like, dude, it never happens again. I never remember him bringing anyone back to life. If he does, tell me, because I forgot.
It's like, poor fucking Bond.
It's like, literally,
Bond didn't need to do all that bullshit. He could have just brought Hendrickson with him.
I know, like, Bonsu jumped through all these hoops to try and bring his wife back to life, and Henry could just do it with, like, the snap of his fingers. Like, what? Like, the thing is, like, I remember when we
Like
saw that
you could
ability.
argue that, like, oh, maybe lesser beings like humans can't like automatically lose their ability the second time because they're shit. So like they immediately start to go insane. But like, what about all the higher rate? Why didn't you try it on Meliodas? You fuck.
I know, like, doesn't, like, Dreyfus have, like, this huge, like, literally, like, trauma over killing his brother because the demon controlled him too? Hendy! Hendy, buddy! Why don't you just, like, bring it back to life? Just give him a little tap.
Yeah, you could.
Well, like, the thing is, like, I remember when they revealed this ability, like, I was actually like, dude, Henshrin's actually a terrifying villain now, because he could just bring people back to life. What if he, like, finds, like, a strong guy, or, like, even, like, down the road, even if he, like, doesn't keep up with the power creep, like, he could still, like, be incredibly useful to anyone with this ability. Like, it's such an, it's like
Like, it's funny,
Orochimaru's,
he
like,
has the potential to be like a Kabuto level threat.
yeah, no, he unironically did. Like, I was actually about to compare him to Orochimaru or something, where like he has the revival power, and it's like it's never brought up for no reason, and it's just like what,
Yeah,
huh?
it's strange. Oh, and then I have another power complaint, which is like in every series ever, especially with main characters, their abilities highly tie into their characterization in some way. I think that's kind of iffy on Seven Deadly Sins, like how well that's
I
done.
think Meliodas is all right with like his initial skill set. I think it's pretty
Right.
cool. Yeah, right. Like he
Like
has
the
like
whole point is he'll never he can't do the first move. He can only retaliate. It's like the definition of a self-defense power.
yeah, and like the thing is, this whole thing is about like anger. He's the sin of wrath. So like either like he like retaliates in a tactful like way with full counter. Like he's in control, keeping his emotions in check, and just retaliating in self defense. Or he loses control and his anger gets the best of him and then becomes a demon. Gets like, all right, cool. We
Right.
explore
I
the
like
idea
full
in a
counter
nice
because
way.
it kind of it's kind of a good way to show that yes, they're framed because like his power by definition works best if he is not the aggressor.
Yeah, it was a
It's like,
neat thing.
And then you get small ones where like Bond's thing is more so how his immortality plays into his character because like it affects him a lot,
Yeah,
and it's
survivor's
not
guilt
pretty
and all
cool.
that.
King's thing with being a fairy king is pretty good. Deanne like sucked so much he had to invent the dance because he realized Deanne didn't have shit.
It's like, all right, everyone's getting powers. What the fuck do I give Deanne? And then like
Yeah,
she
and he's
gets the
like, oh,
dance, but like,
dance.
is she ever like shown dancing in a mid fight? I don't remember.
Like once or twice.
Okay, that's enough, I guess.
Yeah, because it's like, oh, he kind of forgot, and it's like the dance ties into her character well, but before that, it was kind of just like heavy metal because Earth. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
that,
Yep,
that,
that's
that
a
was kind of it.
giant power. The giant power.
Gothers was more so like memory manipulation works really well to explore his like problems.
Yeah, like the whole memory theme. Like, of course it fits
Yeah.
well. Yeah, Escanor is
Merlin
fucking
has fucking
perfect.
infinity.
Escanor is fucking perfect. We can move on.
Yeah, Merlin has fucking infinity.
I remember. Oh, I have it in my notes here. Merlin is exactly as strong as the chapter demands her to be.
Dude, no, that's infinity. Infinity is it can be as high as you need it to be. Yeah, no, that was pretty goofy.
Yeah.
All right, I think that's all. I think that's all the bitching we have about powers.
Yeah, no, it is. Oh, besides like Lancelot being the strongest motherfucker in the
Which is just
world at
funny.
age
I
13.
like that. It's
Like the
hilarious.
thing is, like it is funny and hilarious, but also I'm just like, how?
Oh yeah, because we don't know where he trained.
No, the thing is, we have like some idea. Like he got spirited away with Jericho, and they were in some
But it
hellscape
can't
for
be
like.
purgatory because he would have instantly died.
Yeah, it's not purgatory, and it probably wasn't the demon realm. If I had to guess, it maybe was Camelot, like Arthur's like weird chaos place, like
That'd
some
be
weird,
neat.
yeah, like maybe something like that. But anyway, like at age 13, he's now the strongest character, and he could kick Arthur's ass. Arthur, who is the strongest man, undisputably, he could just kick his ass, and he just does it, and it's just like wow, way to like I hate it when people like say, oh, there's no tension in the story, but like way to blow your tension by having like Lancelot kick the main villain's ass like
That
in
is
their first
that's fucking
encounter.
awesome. I love that.
No, like the
Uh,
thing is, he like it's like you said before. He only knows how to write a fight by having one side be way stronger than the other. That's what
yeah,
happens. That's just what happens. Arthur gets his
yeah.
ass kicked. It's weird.
Oh, so what's the next topic? Because I know we have like a lot of grand themes.
We have the big one, and oh, that's the end of my notes. It's just the big one
Do we
now.
want to do weird morality?
Oh, we could, yeah, we'll do that first. We'll save the big one for
Okay,
last.
so like Gil Thunder is one example of weird morality. Here's one. So early on, this is one that I was disappointed in. During the fighting festival, you had that old guy from the kingdom Meliodas nuked, and he's like, "Why did you betray everyone? Why did you kill Liz?" And Meliodas is like, "I am racked with so much unbelievable guilt. I'm so fucking sorry." And you're like, "Oh, we'll explore that." And then we get the arc where Meliodas literally has to like fight, has to like re-experience that trauma over and over again.
Dude, did
Except
you know that that training arc was unique because it was about character
I
development?
hate Nux talkers. Anyway, um, during that, something notable happens over and over again when Meliodas goes through that. He's sad about Liz, which makes sense because he cares a lot about Liz, but he shows literally zero care for the rest of the kingdom. He doesn't
Yeah.
care. He doesn't care that he nuked a kingdom. He doesn't give a
Yep.
flying fuck. He only
Uh
cares
huh.
because Liz died. He genuinely doesn't care that he nuked an entire kingdom. And that's never brought up as like a character flaw or like an interesting point. That's just like fun fact about our main character. He doesn't care that he killed an entire nation of
Well, I
people.
guess like because they brought up with the old soldier guy, like they just wanted to focus on the Liz part for that. Like that's the generous way to read it.
Yeah, but it's like he's literally reliving the event, and the other people don't even get mentioned.
Yeah, it's a
It's
weird
just like,
and
oh,
like
Liz died. I'm so sad. Also, I've killed thousands.
okay, that's another weird thing about Melios becoming king. Like I don't think it suits his character at all.
No, it doesn't. He fucking hates being tied down
No,
like
like the thing
that.
is like I remember like I actually watched like the CGI movie. And in it, like, there's literally the scene where it's like, ah, we are around the fancy dinner table that the king sits at. Yes, servants, you may go now. And then as soon as the servants are gone, they just all huddle in the corner around this tiny table. And it's like, this is way more comfortable. And it's like, Meliodas, that's definitely what your character would do. So why are you king? Just
Mhm.
leave it to Gil.
Honestly, it kind of
Like,
gives the
Gil
vibe
got
of
screwed.
like,
Gil got screwed. Gil married the older sister. He should have been king, right?
yeah, and then you can pick who kills crimes. Meliodas' crimes are worse.
They are so much worse. And also, like,
And the thing,
even with just like
do
the
you know
kingdom
what vibe it
specifically.
kind of gives?
What vibe?
It kind of gives the vibes of like those shitty straight to DVD Disney sequels where like all the princesses hate that they're princesses.
Yeah,
Oh,
it
like the
kind of does.
Cinderella sequel where she's like, "Oh, arranged seating." It's like, why are you here?
And it's just that, like, shouldn't he be like at the boar hat? Like, shouldn't he be a free spirit with
Yes.
like does that
To
suit
just
like
let Gil, like Elizabeth's sister, is clearly a great pick for queen because, like, she's like actually like mature and smart. And Gil is a great pick for king because he cares about people and isn't a fucking lunatic nut job
just,
anymore.
like even like
Whereas
in
I'm,
terms of like the kingdom itself, like doesn't Melios murk like a whole group of them like in the first arc? Like
yeah,
after like he has that whole thing where like, ah, Liz wanted you to live, so carry a sword, and then he just murks a bunch of them and
oh
kills a
yeah,
bunch of
no,
them,
it's super
and
funny
it's never
how
brought up
early on
again.
Meliodas' morality is like, oh, he doesn't kill people, which was already kind of hard to believe with that one guy he hit and he lived somehow. But that one guy, the guy who's like, my abs are harder than steel, and then Meliodas hits him so hard, blood explodes out of his mask. He lived somehow. Uh, so no, they're fighting. They're fighting the not Jericho. Gila's fucked up dad, and Barn is like, Meliodas is the kindest of us all. He'll never kill yada yada. And then Meliodas is like, here's Liz's sword. Meliodas, it's okay to kill people if it's for the sake of your own life. And Meliodas is like, okay, I'll kill people. And it's like, all right, Meliodas understands that if it's life or death, he will kill people. But then literally the next arc is they're rushing at a bunch of literal mooks and Bond's like, what should we do, Captain? And Meliodas says, go for the kill.
No hesitation.
It's like, okay, that's an interesting way to develop that.
Yeah, it's
It's
just
fascinating. Um,
it's an artistic choice, you
no,
know.
or like the other one is like redemption, and like this is mostly the demons who do and don't get to be redeemed, which is like the demons who do get some sort of redemption or like at least a plot line or to like explores their humanity are like Zeldris and Esterosa, who are the two evilest commandments by like a mile and a half. They are
Yeah,
so evil. They do so much fucked up shit. Oh my fucking god. And then you get the ones who get like kind of explored, which is like
like
the mustache
Derriere.
guy and the
Yeah,
naked girl.
yeah.
And then you get the ones who get nothing, who are like Meliscula and Galland. And what's funny is because, like, first of all, the series hates Meliscula. Oh my fucking god.
No,
They're so mean
no,
to her.
no,
And then Galland,
no.
who
She's
just
so
kind of seems like an
hot.
old
She's the
fuck who
hottest
likes fighting.
character.
And it's so weird because, like, first of all, yeah, they fucking hate Meliscula and they kill the shit out of Galland. And I remember, like, when I was reading about Esterosa getting redeemed, I was like, man, Meliscula was just like a fucking snake, and Galland was kind of just like an asshole who liked fighting.
No, the
I
thing
feel
is,
like
like
they
Galen,
deserve
like
this a
yeah,
lot
no,
more.
Galen, like especially I'd say did because he actually had like an honorable side to him. It's like, aha, I challenge you to a game. We will take turns attacking each other like it's a Pokemon battle, and it'll be
Yeah,
cool and great and fun.
yeah,
And
and then they get like, and then he gets clapped, and then Meliscula gets like like three brutal deaths. Jesus
now,
Christ!
like to be fair, Meliscula, like using zombies and stuff is kind of fucked up and all that. She killed a bunch of
But so
people
did
gathering
Hendrickson, so
magic and
like
all that. But like Meliscula's hot though. She's
that too,
hot though.
that too. Also, no, it's like, oh no, zombies. Also, look, it's Hendrickson. It's like it's really weird how like it kind of
Like
doesn't
I
like
get
it almost kind of feels like who's a good guy and who's a bad guy, who we like.
Yeah,
It's like
like I
Esterosa is
get
cool, so all of his crimes can be forgiven, but Galland's cringe.
I do get that it's because like they want to focus on Melios's family and about how like his dad like sort of fucked it up and like was an abusive dad and all that. But
Yeah.
like th-
It's just really jarring
There,
how
yeah, like a
Zeldris
lot
and
of
Esterosa
people
are
on
like the
all
most
sides of
evil
this
mother.
conflict like really do just do like terrible, no good, very bad things. Even Gil Thunder, like it kind of stems back to that. Like Gil Thunder did a lot of very fucked up things, but we're supposed to like Gil, so like we can just rush past it,
Yeah.
and he
But
gets to
then,
live a happy
like,
life. But then
Twigo,
like,
who did nothing nearly that bad, got fucking exploded. In
I
like a,
mean,
it's the thing where it's like the series is infinitely meaner and crueler to like the minor villains, and is so apologetic and patient with the most evil motherfuckers, and
I
it's like
get
that's so
I
weird.
get that like redemption is like a big theme because like oh we're all sinners and we come together
Yeah,
to
yeah,
be knights and all
literally, it's
that.
about
So like
sins
it's
getting.
all right if you want to do that with the villains and all that, but like it's
I
so
feel like no, I think
lopsided.
if you're gonna do that with the major villains, you can't be so unbelievably cruel and
Yeah,
cold-hearted with
don't
like
make it
mooks.
that
You
lopsided. At
can't
least
do
try and be a
both.
little consistent with it, like or at least like try and make like the minor villains more despicable than the main ones. Like that's
Hmm.
the least you could do, I think.
Yeah, I think that's kind of it for bad morality.
Now let's get to the big
No,
one.
before the big one, there's a couple small ones I want to do, just as like a build-up.
All
I
right.
have I have two, which is kind of like plot points that didn't make sense to me. One is this is just an outright inconsistency. We know that Dreyfus was getting arrested by Hauser and the what the fuck are they called? Slater's group,
The Roars of Dawn.
Roars of Dawn. And then he breaks out and kills all of them and fucks off. But then Elizabeth does her big heel cry thing, and we see that Hauser's okay, and it's like yay! But then later on, we see Dreyfus being haunted by the people he killed, and we see the Roars of the Dawn, whose bodies were
Oh, you
literally
mean Hendrickson?
lying next to Hauser.
You
So
mean
it's like,
Hendrickson?
okay, hold the fucking phone. Why the fuck did Elizabeth only revive Hauser? How the fuck did that happen? It's
You mean
like,
Hendrickson when he killed them all, like in his gray
no, no,
demon
no, no.
form?
No, it was Dreyfus when he escaped.
Okay.
When Dreyfus escaped being arrested, he killed the Roars of the Dawn and Hauser, and then fucked off.
Yeah.
And then Elizabeth cries, Hauser gets revived, but somehow the Roars of the Dawn right next to him don't, and it doesn't make any fucking sense. That was just a small thing where it's like, that's weird. Like, I get it, because, like, it'd be weird if he was only haunted by, like, two ghosts. So, like, it's not that weird. I just noticed that. And then the second one is like dropped plot points are like normal and like all shonen, but the one I will always find funny is Esterosa looking like Millia.
Oh, this is like actually god tier theory bait because I remember I was like a weekly reader and people would always bring it up like when's this coming back? When's this coming back? It's a very interesting detail and like I remember there were so many theories like oh did Meliodas and Esterosa get switched at some point, or does like Meliodas have some like super final form that makes him an adult, and that's why he looks like that? Like,
Or like,
where's
or
this
like,
resemblance coming from?
or like even the most good faith interpretation would be Zeldris calls him brother, so like oh he's just Meliodas and Zeldris' older brother, so he looks like old Meliodas. That makes sense. But then we learn even it's not true. He's a fucking angel. He
Yeah,
just
he's
happens to
not
look like Meliodas.
related in the slightest.
So he built that up as like the most obvious connection for Agent, and it was then just like fuck you, not related at all. In fact, he's jealous of Meliodas' game.
Oh, I guess that's another thing about demons. I think is kind of lame. Is that like all the like best like 90% of the demons just look like humans,
Oh, the
which
stronger a demon is, the more they look like a human, which is like
is
lame because
disappointing.
they like reject and hate humanity. Because like there's series where looking more human as you get stronger is cool, mainly hollows. Because the whole point is they are humans, like they are human souls regaining their humanness. But like the demons are supposed to be these disgusting fucking monstrosities, but then all the top tiers are just humans. And like, sure, for some they're possessed, like the Fairy King and the Giant King.
Or like
But then like
even like with
Meliodas and
Meliscula,
Zeldris
like
just look like humans.
or like Meliscula, like she looks like a human, but then she turns into the giant snake thing. So it's like, all right,
And
cool,
and her true form is like a little bitch snake.
yeah. So like,
It's just kind of like Let your
Yeah,
demons be demons, dog. It's
I
so
know. And the
cool.
thing is, I love a lot of the demon designs. Like the Demon King, like he looks fucking great, right?
Mm-hmm.
And also like
Even
I showed you like this
his
random.
human form looks pretty cool. Admittedly, he gives real Ganondorf
Yeah,
vibes.
and I remember I showed you like this random page in the sequel series of just like some mid-level demons, and you like these guys look like filler fairy tale villains, and in a
Hmm.
good way. And I'm like, yeah, man, he could just make demons fun sometimes, but chooses not to.
And also the thing, like, funny thing about bringing up Bleach, even most of the Hollows, Rancor, look infinitely crazier than like the SDS demons.
I know they do.
Like Ulquiorra looks fucking insane.
Like even if we're just talking about like the normal forms, like how they're like surrounded by bones and all that, like that's a cool detail that distinguishes them. Because if you like really the only like consistent thing that distinguishes a demon or like a high tier demon from a
Is
human
her
is just a
purple aura
tattoo. Is just like a tattoo, more or less, I guess.
tattoo and like the dumb purple energy,
Which is just that's
which
lame.
just makes them look like corrupted humans. Which is like some are, but most aren't.
Yeah. All right.
It's
So
it's kind
yeah.
of lame.
Yeah. All right. So I have one more thing. It's about the sequel series and like the CGI movie. Cause
Uh huh.
I came into this thinking this is gonna be like terrible and bad, but then I just enjoyed myself.
That's good.
Yeah, and I was just like, oh, the CGI, like, yeah, it's CGI looks ugly sometimes, especially like some of the models, like Elizabeth looks terrifying, and I hate her. But like, there's some shots where I'm like, oh, that's nice and charming, and like, I really like how they got like Lancelot's fairy form. That's the thing. Lancelot fucking sucks, but like, if they made him look like if they made his fairy form the default, I would love him so much more. Because he's like that hard ass like badass like sharpshooter type character, but like when he's just like this little chubby like fairy guy, he's so fucking cool, and he still carries that energy as best as he can, and it's great.
That is fun. I like that.
Yeah, I'd love him infinitely more if he was like that all the time, but he's just really like that in the movie. I think he does it like once in the manga.
That's too
And
bad.
and also, I think the main villain in that movie had like an infinitely better reason to become racist than Arthur will be given.
Right.
Because like for Arthur, I just have to assume he's being mind controlled or like corrupted by something. Because like otherwise, it literally makes no sense to me. Because like he's friends with all these like demons and goddesses and giants and all that. He's a very open minded boy, very kind soul and all that. And then just like time skip, he's the most racist man alive. His throne is literally a statue of all the other races screaming in pain he just sits on top of it.
That's literally like the fucking Voldemort statue from
It
Harry
is, and
Potter.
like he calls like his four strongest dudes the four evils, which like fucking why would you do that if you like? I thought the whole idea is that you thought every other race was evil, but you're calling your guys the four evils, and it's like I could buy into that if it was like the three evils, like hear no evil, see no evil, speak no evil, or something like that. But there's nothing like that going on as far as I can tell. It's just fucking weird and frankly stupid. But I think the main villain in the movie actually had like a pretty good reason for being a racist like zealot, and the reason is because it's that Death Pierce guy, like like we talked about that scene where like that one guy
Yeah.
like got possessed by the goddess and then like tried to fight the demons but then got squashed. That guy, that was his mentor. Like he watched this happen up front. He's like he saw his mentor like give up his life to bring a goddess back to life. The goddess then decides, "Fuck off! I'm not fighting your war." And then she gets killed by a demon. Like he sees like his mentor's body possessed by a goddess just get like blown in half by a demon. He's like, "Yeah, this fucking sucks. Why is a demon Meliodas our king now? That's kind of fucked up, right, guys? They've killed so many of us. He's killed so many of us. Why is he our king? Isn't this kind of fucked up and bad? Didn't the goddesses like literally brainwash half of us and like and do all this fucked up shit to us? Why is the goddess Elizabeth our queen now? Isn't that kind of fucked up, guys?" And it's like, yeah, I see why this guy's racist. I buy it. It makes complete sense to me.
Yeah, that works.
It does work.
And then I'll pop up on another funny small Seven Deadly Sins later season censorship.
Oh, what is it?
Death Piercer had a little fairy stand and she was naked in the manga, like not like tits out naked, but like smooth body naked.
Yeah.
And in the anime, they gave her like a nightgown.
Ah, good for them.
That's so funny. Okay, now for the big one.
Yeah, all right. So what do you think the main theme of Seven Deadly Sins is? I'm not speaking to you. I'm speaking. I'm not speaking to you. I'm not speaking to you. I'm not speaking to you. I'm speaking to the audience. Type it right now. Type what you think it is right now. All right. So the main theme of Seven Deadly Sins is, drumroll,
Love. It's love.
its age is just a number.
Okay, that's a side effect of the main thing.
No. It's the most consistent theme. Is age
No,
is just
no,
a
Puff,
number.
that's the problem. Because the main thing, I like the problem is Seven Deadly Sins is like I would say one of the most romance centered battle shonen like ever,
It is
like easily.
absolutely.
But all of the relationships are so fucking creepy.
All right.
Like if it was just like one or two, you'd be like, I can roll with the punches. But it's all of them.
Like my general rule of thumb is that, like, all right, you get one freebie. Any more than that, and I'm gonna start questioning stuff.
Uh-huh.
So
And
like,
so let's look at King and Deanne is kind of weird because you remember when they met, King was like mature enough to
100,
be like an adult or a teenager, and Deanne was like a literal child. It's
a
like
toddler.
that's suspicious, and it's like
Yeah.
okay, that's just one. Let's look at
And and
another
when they
sin.
even when they grow in the main series, it's like, all right, one of them looks like a little boy, the other's a giant woman.
Yeah,
And
it's
like,
like
I
that's
do
odd.
appreciate that by the end of the series, they make King just look like a short man.
Oh, I love his final
I
form. It's
oh,
amazing.
thank God he doesn't look like a
Hmm.
little boy, and like he looked nice as a little boy. I like that design
But
with
it's
like
like
the raincoat.
okay, but that's
But
just
also
one
but
relationship.
now that he's like being lovey-dovey with Deanne, it's like, all right, make him look like a grown man, please.
Okay, but okay, let's look at another. Let's look at Bond and Elaine. Early on, first of all, you have the immediate creepiness of like, please put the panel that I hate of Bond reading to Elaine.
Dude, I'll have that be over this whole section.
That's a dad reading to his daughter. That's a dad reading to his daughter. You cannot convince me
I
otherwise.
want to
Anyway,
love Bond so much
beyond
because
that,
he's such a fucking slut and he looks
okay,
great.
beyond that, instantly it's weird because visually Bond is an adult and Elaine is 11, and then it's
Bond isn't just an
actually
adult; he's a fucking slut.
he is. He's a slutty ass man whore of an adult, which is why I love him. That's also why I want him to get away from Elaine. But then there's also the inverse problem of when they meet, Elaine is like 200 and Bond is like 16.
Yeah, so it's like, all right, I feel like you're trying to like two negatives make a positive. I think that's
And
like the
it's
rule
like
for
all we
Seven Deadly
got is
Sins.
it's so funny. It's like when you look at them, you think Bond is a pedophile, but then plot twist, Elaine is.
Two negatives make a positive. That's the god rule
So
of Seven
small
Deadly
thing with
Sins.
Elaine, when she comes back as a jealous girlfriend, I fucking hated that subplot. That was awful.
Yeah,
Oh, and
and
then also another problem with Bond. I'm so glad they stopped
let's
it.
save
That
this
is
for the
all
final one.
whenever
Let's
Jericho
save that for
annoyed
the
him.
final one.
Like
Okay,
no.
okay,
That's not
okay.
about the other Jericho thing. That's just
All
about
right.
his thing with Jericho, where whenever she would annoy him, he would strip her.
I'm closing my eyes.
Isn't that weird? Like
It's like,
that's
yeah,
weird. The thing
yeah.
is, you can't even say, "Oh, it's a fan service excuse," because outside of the first time, whenever he does it, it's like she's tiny and not detailed at all. So it's supposed to be like funny, but it's just creepy, and I don't like it.
To be fair, it's not as creepy as Meliodas' gag, where he'll just sexually assault
Okay,
Elizabeth
no,
whenever
there's
he's
a reason
bored.
Meliodas is my least favorite character, Buff. Oh
What?
my fucking
But
god.
didn't you see
Okay,
the
so
next Taku analysis? He's so deep because he just is who he is, and he doesn't want to
and
stop
I
anyone from
hate who he
being
is.
who he
No,
is.
okay, so we're immediately introduced to Meliodas, and the first thing he does is grope a 16-year-old, and we're like, okay, maybe don't.
Well,
And
at
then
first you're like, oh, but he's like a little boy, right? So it's fine.
so like, but then we learn he's actually like a grown ass man. We're like, okay, don't please. And then he keeps doing it. He'll like fondle her ass in public. He'll fucking shove his face between her legs. Oh my, he's so blatant. It's so gross. And then we're like, there's gotta be a reason he does this. It's so fucking weird. And then we learn the reason is don't worry, guys. He's actually he's very respectful. He won't be horny to Deanne. He'll only be horny to Elizabeth. Do you want to know why? That's because Elizabeth is actually the reincarnation of someone he used to fuck. She doesn't know that yet. She has none of their memories. She's still a 16-year-old girl, but she will one day. Which is
Whole generations and cycles of grooming.
it's so fucking, it's so gross. And like, there's the infamous panels. Like the infamous panel is keep your hands off my woman.
Oh yeah, that's a great
Infamous,
panel.
disgusting. How dare you? And then you also have other ones that I hate. Like the two that I always think of are one of him and Merlin talking in a bar. Elizabeth is like 5, and he's like, "Hey Merlin, should I get Elizabeth a present?" And he's talking like it's his girlfriend, and she's like, I don't know. What is she like? And they're like, I don't know. And it's because she's a child. And then you also have the other one where like it's like the end of the series. They're standing on a hill overlooking the kingdom. And Melody is like, oh, I used to take you here all the time. Do you remember? And she's like, no, I was 6.
It's
It's like,
so
ugh.
so weird.
It's so gross.
And like I get it. Like if you want to see this as like a sappy like melodramatic romance, like he's immortal and his love keeps reincarnating and dying and leaving
But
him.
they don't need to be so creepy about
No,
it.
like that's the thing. Like I have actually have like a list of like counter examples here.
Which are like maybe creepy, but less so.
Yeah, all right. I get that like sometimes like like art is like an idealized fantasy, right? Like, oh boy, I
Right.
have my very own 3,000-year-old vampire sugar daddy, but like there's so many like it's too consistent with all the relationships that's just very
No,
very
even the non-problematic ones have like hints of it, like Escanor and like thank God Escanor doesn't know. Escanor and Merlin, like Escanor fucking loves Merlin. Thank God he doesn't know that her true form is a 7-year-old. Thank fucking God.
but dude, you know that if he did know, he'd just be like, I don't care. I love
Oh,
you
if he did
anyways.
know, he'd be like, I will only find her hot when she's not in that mode.
All right, now, but the thing is, like, sure, like, it's fine. Like, if you just want, like, it's a fantasy, right? Just it's just a picture, whatever. But like, then they bring up the worst one, and they bring up Jericho in the sequel series, and she has a thing for Bond's son, Lancelot, and she's had a thing for him ever since he was 7, and he's like 15 now, and she outright says it's fucked up that I like a guy like a boy half my age and I'm gonna turn evil so I can be a pedophile. And so like alright, suddenly we have like this example where a character liking someone half their age is a bad thing. So
Where
that
it's
so that for
unacceptable
so it
now.
literally forces you to view every other relationship with scrutiny because this one's being viewed with scrutiny. So it's like
Oh, which is so
where it
fucking dumb.
shatters like any illusion you could possibly have. Like you could just plug and say I'm not listening up until Jericho screams in your head this is a bad thing and I'm a villain now because this is a bad
Right.
thing.
Oh no,
And
or
like
like another series I know where like there's a lot of creepy ass relationships is Game of Thrones because it's literally like kingdoms warring. Shit's weird. There's a
like it's
lot
a
of
period
pedophiles.
piece.
There's a
It's a
lot of
period.
incest.
Yeah.
But the thing is, like they'll make some of the incest try to seem kind of romantic, but they'll never outright make like the creepy pedophile shit where you're like you're supposed to like that. You're kind of just like this is a product of the times. Why are we here?
Yeah.
Whereas like I also think things send away senses again. Like if it was just like one or two, you'd be like, ah man, that's kind of weird. But because it's like almost all of them, it just has this like pervasive like nastiness throughout the whole
I
series,
know.
and
And
you can't escape it.
the thing is like I could give a pass for something like Melios and Elizabeth because like
I
there's this
can't
other
'cause it's so fucking
no, the thing is, there's
creepy.
this other series. It's called fuck, what is it called? I have to go to my media thread because I reread it recently. In fact,
Mhm.
like I was actually like very interested to see the ending once I realized like it's so similar to Seven Deadly Sins in a few ways. All right, Please Save My Earth from 1987. All right. So in this one, it's a very similar setup where like both of the like these two people like these aliens like loved each other, they fucked all that, and then they reincarnated. One of them reincarnated 5 years later and is now like a little boy, and the other's like a high school girl, and they do in fact get engaged. But
Wow.
also, they like the thing is the older one does it out of guilt because she accidentally slapped him and like threw him off the side of a building and almost killed him. So it's like
Hmm.
like my neighbor boy who's like my best friend. Is there anything I can do to make this up to you? And he's like, I have my memories of the past when we were dating and fucking. Will you marry me in the future? She's like, all right, sure. Fine. And then like she gets her memories, they sort through it all, and like they make a real point to say like, oh, we're not the same people we were back then. our relationship now is different from back then, and they still do become a romantic thing by the end, but also there's no groping, there's no sexual assaulting.
Hmm.
They literally like kiss
No,
once,
do
and
you know
it's
what's
when
the other thing about the sexual assault that I realized?
what?
The fact that Elizabeth never like resists makes it so much creepier. Because
It
by the end, it's because
does.
she likes it. She says that, but early on, she doesn't. And you get the feeling that she does it because one is like she's petrified, and the other is because it's like an authority figure that she respects doing it, and it's so
Yeah,
gross
and
and
okay, like
creepy. It's like
literally
stop, because like
the
that's because like I'll read another series where like a guy will try that, and then he'll get smacked. And in my head, I'm like, that's a generic trope. But then I'm like, wait, if she didn't do that, I feel really weird right now.
you know, like usually like it's portrayed as like a like a juvenile thing, and like Sanji from One Piece, whenever he like spurgs out over a woman, he usually ends up being the butt of the joke. But like if anything, it seems like Elizabeth's the butt of the joke because you're supposed to laugh at how embarrassed she is and all that.
Hmm. Or like the
Just
joke is like, haha, Meliodas is sad. He's shoving his fucking head right into her crotch, and it's like, I don't think that's funny. I don't.
like
And then
all
she
right,
like
like
pets him, and she's like, there, and it's like, oh god, she's getting desensitized to it.
okay, like again, and please save my Earth, right? Like they literally, the only physical contact they have that's sexual at all is like this one kiss, and it happens when one of them is comatose. Like it's when Alice, like the girl, a high schooler, is like asleep, and little boy who's actually like a 37-year-old man because he has his memories back or whatever, like just
Uh-huh.
pecks her on the lips, and
It's
that's
like
it.
that's still weird, but that's like that's weird, but
That's
that's like I
nothing.
can.
That's
That's weird, but
nothing.
like you can move past that.
You definitely can, especially when literally like the next few pages she wakes up and is like, "Oh yeah, it's kind of fucking weird how like, you're 5 and I'm in high school and maybe, if we do want to be a romantic couple, like let's wait like 12 years at least.
Hmm.
Have to wait till you graduate."
Or it's like it doesn't embrace the weirdness and explore it, so you don't get the like the most like the Mashuko Tensei excuse or the erased excuse where it's like their biology is like physically changing, and like admittedly in Mashuko Tensei it's creepy as fuck because he's pumped, whereas in erased he's like he blushed when a girl touched his hand, and he's like, what the fuck, I'm 35. He's like, why the fuck did I react like that? That's weird. He's like, ugh, being a kid is weird. Or you have series where they don't acknowledge it, you don't talk about it, and you kind of just move on. Whereas Seven Deadly Sins does doesn't talk about it, but
like
then when it does, it talks about it in a way that makes you realize how gross it is.
Like, is Jericho supposed to be like a self critique? Like, oh, I understand that I've been writing fucked up relationships, so here's this one to point that out. I don't think it's gonna be. I don't think so. I don't think that's what he's going for.
I
Like,
doubt it.
one thing I'm
I don't
actually
like
afraid
it.
of is that I'm afraid Jericho and Lancelot are actually gonna end up like together by the
That
end.
would be so fucking
That
funny.
would be funny. It would be so funny, but
It'd be
also I would
bad, but yeah,
throw
it'd be
up.
funny.
And the thing is, I'm not even like against like having like weird kinks in your manga. I made a freezing video. It got taken
Uh
down because sexual content and all that, but like I did,
huh.
but I did. There's a lot. There's like and like it's actually like an ecchi series, so it's like it's actually way more provocative and like honestly does some more overtly fucked up stuff. But like also it didn't do pedophilia, and I think that's worse than just like BDSM and weird power dynamics, especially when
No,
that's
again,
like
that's the thing of like if also like I think series like with that like if you just outright admit you're just a porn manga. It's like, okay, I just
yeah,
won't read you. Have fun with what
yep,
you're doing. Like
uh-huh.
I remember like Yona in the Hot Spring, I think is what it's called, is like I was like, oh, is this a cool battle shonen? And then very quickly I'm like, oh, this is just porn. And I'm like, okay, I won't read that anymore.
But the best stuff is both, dude.
No, I think the other thing about Seven Deadly Sins that makes it even worse is the core theme is romance. Like all of the big developments are tied to like either friendship or like love, usually romance. And it's like romantic love and these romances and how these relationships build to make everyone better. But then all the relationships, not all, but like most relationships are like seeped in this disgusting, weird, gross realm, and it's like it makes me not like not only your like literally I don't like your main theme because of how you ruin it. Like it's kind of the thing of like one take I always have is if you hate a series main character, you probably don't like what the series is about, because like
Yeah.
you know Main character represents it. It's like you're right. I don't like Meliodas, and I don't like what Seven Deadly Sins is about because it's about romance, but through the realms of the creepiest fucking relationships I've ever seen.
Like at least with some like freezing does have incest and like kind of leans into it like more than you would like. I know that,
Right.
but at least it like leans on the side of hey, this is a bad thing. Like we're gonna indulge in it a bit because we're weird, we like we're horny and stuff. But like remember, this is the villain, and also the
Uh,
main character. Like half of his arc is literally just like getting over his sister complex to date his girlfriend,
that's funny.
who just
One
so
thing
happens
that
to resemble his sister. But whatever, we
nice.
it's
That
cool.
gave me
I
SAO
honestly
vibes. Like
respect that. I
everyone
honestly
talk,
respect that. We're just like,
no, they
oh,
gave me SAO vibes. Like everyone talks about the incest in SAO, even though literally the whole subplot is Sugaha knowing it's weird and creepy and she shouldn't feel this way, and Kirito just being like, I want to go find my girlfriend.
no, like honestly, like it handles it in such a soft like way where it's just like, yeah, we all know it's not good, but we're just gonna try and like approach it with some empathy and just say, Suga, you're not like a disgusting freak for this. It's
Right.
fine.
It's like, okay,
Just
or it's like,
just
Suga,
just
your
you just have
feelings are
to like
valid, and
yeah
it's good that you're working through it.
yeah
It's like, oh my god, actually exploring it with some level of maturity.
yeah, and just like yeah, you just because like there's I don't care about like yeah, I'm fine with weird sex stuff, just not
No, the
how
weird thing
Seven
is
Deadly
like
Sins handles it.
I kind of have the take that like most good things have some level of problematic to them. So like when something is so problematic, not only do I dislike it, it like actively ruins the series for me. It's like how the fuck did you do that?
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
it's a
I don't like
very
that.
very pervasive problem.
You know what? Fuck. We should make this video a compliment sandwich. Let's end on like two more good things.
um
Okay,
um
two more good things. We already touched on the art a little bit and how like his best thing is exaggerated heights and shit. That's
yeah.
part of the reason Escanor is so great, is because of like how exaggerated his height is. And like how he can do a lot of good angling. Like the one where it's like him, Merlin, and I think like Gil facing off against like those demon trainers and he's like leering over the short guy. It's
Yeah.
like actually a masterpiece
Oh
panel.
yeah, no, like there's a lot of great art in
Yeah.
Seven Deadly
And
Sins.
like obviously like Esteros versus Gil Thunder is like everyone says it's great, but it is because it's
Esterosa
so it
versus Escanor,
embraces
you
what it
mean?
is while also being great because you get like literally it's like Esterosa's like haha you're gonna hate me and Escanor's like I'm too cool to hate you and he's like haha I've overpowered your ability by being by having physical repel and then Escanor's like no and it's like oh and then he's like haha I've overwhelmed your heat. And Escanor's like, no. And it's like, let's go. It's so funny because it's like the whole point is this is like when demons are taking over, everyone's depressed. And Escanor is the only one who is completely unwavering in the face of it.
I know, I love him. He's such a
Oh,
good
it's
guy.
such a great fight. Like he has other good fights, but that one just like makes me happy.
Yeah, and also like I have another example of a battle shonen doing you know some questionable relationship stuff. Rurouni Kenshin, written by an actual like pedophile, I think, right?
Oh yeah, 100%. And it's less
And
weird because it's just like
it's
isn't
does
Kaoru just
something
like
very
17?
similar. Like yeah, Karu's like 16, 17, what something like that, and
She's
Kenshin
17 because Mocha
and
always says
Kenshin
we were a year away from being okay.
and like Kenshin's like 29 years old, and like it is definitely true that like part of this relationship has to have like Karu be younger because the point is like Kenshin has lived through war but Karu hasn't. Like that's supposed to be
Right.
like the idea, right? So like this age gap like is kind of like necessary for the themes and all that. But like
Hmm.
also like subject B as far as we can tell, Kenshin never touched her until she was like well into her 20s because like in the
Uh,
epilogue when they have
no,
a kid, the
no,
kid's
and
like
it's
3
like,
years
yeah,
old.
no, like Kenshin is so passive and chill. I think that's the thing where it's like, even though Kenshin, like, obviously you feel kind of weird reading the relationship because of what you know, but reading Kenshin's problematic relationship, even with the context, still makes me feel less uncomfortable than reading Seven
The
Deadly
thing is that
Sins somehow.
I already see feel like there's three good reasons not to, and it's just like the thing I mentioned before, like theme stuff, and then he never touches her. And then like the third one is that it's a period piece. Like this is like 100 years ago Japan, and like back
No,
then,
it's like the
it
thing
actually
is,
wouldn't
Seven
be
Deadly
like it wouldn't
Sins.
be
You could also
that.
argue period piece because it's supposed to be like medieval
But the
Europe.
thing is, like
Except they
the
never like address that.
no, like yeah, that's the thing. And just like for Veroni, it's like actually supposed to be like Japan 100 years ago. So like all right, a pairing with like that age gap is like wouldn't be that uncommon. But like in some of the when it's like a fun like quirky fantasy world, it's just like okay, well now you have to kind of justify this I think a
Yeah,
bit.
or it's like there are so many ways to make it so like the creepy aspects you can kind of look past in some way or another, and Seven Deadly Sins fails on like every front.
It does.
All right, compliment sandwich failed. Let's try that one more time.
Um.
Okay, good thing. Name one more good thing. One more good thing.
Meliscula's so fucking hot.
Okay, we already said that. One more. Oh, a new good thing. Uh,
I like how the head goddess looks. She looks fucking great. Like as cool as the
nice.
demon king. Yeah, she looks cool.
Um,
Lots of good artwork.
already talked about the. Oh, I like that Bond got stronger after giving up his immortality because he was in purgatory for like 6,000 years.
Oh yeah, like that. That's kind of nice. Like a lot of the sins kind of like end their arcs pretty well. Like Bound, like the sin of greed ends up like giving away his immortality, and
Hmm.
like yeah, that's nice. And then Deanne, the sin of envy, gets her own boyfriend and stops being jealous about like
Hmm.
Meliodas and yeah.
Kings and a sloth becomes stops being a sloth both with his duties. He becomes a good king and stops being a sloth by being a little bitch and actually dates Deanne.
Yeah. Actually starts
Escanor,
dating the kid
Pride,
he
his
groomed.
final fight is, taking on all of his power at once, destroying his body to help save the world and his friends and the woman he loves. It's like, oh, that's
No, but
cool.
and also like
Like,
before that, like right before that moment, he actually has to ask like Esterosa for like more power. Like I'm sorry, this was your power originally. Can I have it one more time for a
oh, and
fight?
he
And like he
also has
humbles
the other one where
himself.
he offers to give it to Esther Rosa.
Yeah,
Both of those are really good.
yeah,
Or
like he
like,
humbles himself for the first time in during the daytime.
yeah, or like even Gother's is like Sin of Lust. His final thing is accepting and remembering the one girl he actually loved.
Dude, it's so
It's like,
fucking cool. Like, there's another thing. Like, I love how Gila's power up in the sequel series is just her demon form. Because, like, oh, that's a thing. Like, the thing is, like, in the first big arc, like, at the end, they're all just, like, crushing the worms inside of all the possessed people to, like, get the demon out of them. But, like, Gila, that never happened with her. Gotho just,
yeah,
like, touched her
because
brain and,
Gother
like,
just
made
did
her
his
all right.
mind bullshit.
Yeah, he did. So, like, the demon is still inside of her, and she can, like, still just use it without any of the drawbacks. And I thought that was
Yeah, I thought
cool.
that was cool.
Yeah, and I showed you her design. That's one of the coolest demon designs.
Oh,
She's not
that's
even a
quite
demon,
cool.
but she's like one of the coolest ones they have, and it's awesome.
Uh-huh.
God, I remember
And
I remember when that scene happened and like her and Jericho were fighting. That was like the most hooked I was on the sequel. She's like, oh my god, why is Jericho a villain? I want to know. They're two friends fighting. This looks so cool. That demon form looks so cool. Jericho, why are you a villain? What's going on? I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued. And then Lancelot came, and then she took off her helmet and was like,
nice.
Lancelot, I love you. I love you. I love
Or
you
it's
like a
like a
man would. I love you as a man, my 7-year-old sweetheart. Hmm.
So yeah, Seven Deadly Sins. Uh, one of my two least favorite manga, up there with We Never Learn.
Yeah. I mean, like if I had to like pick, I think I'd rather like reread Seven Deadly Sins because it's a little more exciting and fun. And
I'd
We Never
rather
Learned is just
read
like
We Never Learn because one, it's shorter. Two, I like
right.
Asumi's character. Three, Mafuyu is genuinely like top 10 hottest anime lady.
Yeah, no, she's great. Love the hot teacher.
And then that's it. That's my reason.
Like I
If you
just
don't
found it
know
like
why We Never
boring.
Learn sucks, it has the single worst ending to any harem series ever have or ever will.
Yeah, it's not just because like it sucks or anything. It's because it's like 5 volumes long.
And it's cowardly. They're a coward for 5 straight volumes.
I know.
Uh-huh.
Should we
So
spoil We
yeah,
Never Learn in our Seven Deadly Sins?
this is easily gonna be one of the most negative videos Evil Puff ever gets. That
Yeah.
isn't like a response video.
Yeah, like honestly, when it comes to like long running like manga, like or like just manga in general. I don't think there's anything that I have as many bad things to say as I do about Seven
No,
Deadly
I think
Sins.
most long-running things are like good, and that's how they ran for so long. That's why Seven Deadly Sins is like an anomaly to me. And then if
Like
something is
I
like
feel like
bad enough that I'd hate it, I probably just haven't read enough of it.
yeah, no, dude. I remember just now, just like I think the reason Seven Deadly Sins kind of gets me is that like every bad thing I've heard people say about shonen in general is just true for Seven Deadly Sins.
Hmm.
Like
And we don't understand the rules of the game, so we can't play along.
that's the best guy ever talking about Fairy Tail and about like I can't follow the power scaling. These powers are so weird. It's like no, dude, they make sense. You just have to pay attention. But then
Yeah,
like it just is what Seven Deadly Sins is.
you
Like
know, it
and
is.
like what people think Fairy Tail is literally what Seven Deadly Sins is. I think.
That's actually pretty valid.
Yeah.
And then also one thing that kind of grew our hatred is one of the things that helped Nuxtaku grow as being like a smart analysis YouTuber back when he was that. First of all, if you're one
The
of the people who thinks he used to be
psychology
good,
of
no,
Meliodas.
he's never been good. We watched the Seven Deadly Sins analysis. It's god awful. It's god awful. It's some of the worst shit we've ever seen. And he was like the only YouTuber actually analyzing it. And it's like, what are we talking about?
You see, Bond suffers from severe depression, and that's why he's a good character.
And Meliodas has PTSD depression.
PTSD. He just
And
is who he is, and he doesn't care about other
no,
people thinking
honestly,
about who he is.
I think those videos, like he did other ones, like he did a guts analysis, but his Seven Deadly Sins ones are like the core ones, and like those annoy me because I think they spread a lot of like the buzzwords that I hate hearing in analysis, which
Let's
is
get
like
into the philosophy and the psychology of
philosophy,
Escanor.
ideology, trauma. Oh my fucking god, do people not know? Trauma, depression, shit like that. Where it's like I hate because if I ever hear that in analysis, I know I'm about to hear some dumb shit.
Yeah. I mean, like 9 times out of 10, I think.
Okay, no, like no, some people can do it well, but it's like I don't trust. I think that's it.
Yep.
Woo.
We.
That's all, folks.